chat in the background whilst everybody arrives. Fingers crossed. On the show last week, I took the opportunity to, because now we can play YouTube videos, I took the opportunity to take everybody on a grand tour of devices. I have no idea who these people are.
Are these friends of yours?
Potentially. I mean, anything's possible, but at the moment I don't know where they are, who they are. This is definitely taking some time ago. All right, 3, 2, 1. If I time this right, we should end up with you and I just on screen. There we go.
Voila.
Voila, as they say in France. And right,
hello, yeah.
Down with us. All good. I'm not sure about the purple background though. That's left over from a show I did with Angelica. So let's just change the colour. It wasn't. And there we are. That's better.
Okay, sure.
So hello, Kelly. Right, I've had warning that David, because David didn't do the show last week about devices, that he's got 2 weeks of dad jokes. So,
yeah.
So watch out for that. Not 1, but 2 weeks.
I'm not going to make everybody suffer that much.
And we'll go to the best layout in the house and over to Barry. Barry's saying, good afternoon, Stephen and David. Good afternoon, Barry. Nice to see you. Right. Okay. Now, before we came live, we were talking about things gradually opening up both in the UK and in Canada. Do you want to go first or second?
Well, I can start. Yeah, I wasn't here last week, so I probably got so much I could say, right? Hey, Dom's out there too.
I don't.
Nice to see you, Dom. Yeah, and interestingly, I've been extra busy, right? Because of the needs of live streaming. My phone's been ringing a little more. People are seeing a little more of the value in live streaming.
That's good.
I find it interesting from time to time. I have people who I know, but I don't hear from a lot. And all of a sudden they're like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? Can you tell me this? Can you tell me that? And I'm like, yeah, I'd be happy to set up a time and send you a fee schedule for that. I'm happy to help, but
you've got to draw a line somewhere, haven't you? You can't help everybody for free.
Yeah, that's right.
Am I just
another brick in the wall?
Could be.
It's a big brick in the wall.
This is one of the first. It's breaking up. This is one of the first backdrops ever used when I got XSplit VCam.
There you go.
So I'm going down memory lane.
So loosening things up. I mean, on the weekend here, it's kind of fun. I've had some interesting conversations with local media and then local, dignitaries, etc. Actually, later today on my show, our Mayor Mike Bradley is joining me for an update as one of my guests, and he talks about some interesting things. But there's been so much vagueness out there, right? Hey, Jesse, good to see you, buddy. Vagueness at least on our side of the coin, like. For example, I looked into, so I live streamed a wedding last week. That's why I wasn't here.
Okay. Right.
And of course, the first concerns were, okay, am I able to do this? Am I going to get in trouble for doing this? All that stuff. And as it turned out, I was probably okay to do that. Now the word, notice I threw the word probably in there. I went to the Ontario government website and looked through the essential services list, which had gotten shorter compared to the first one they put out, which was basically everybody was on the list.
Right.
But in there, it labeled, newspaper, radio, and television broadcast as an essential service.
Right.
So am I that? Kind of, right? And then the other part in there was IT services and online services was on there. I took that as, okay, well, I'm providing an online service. I'm part of media. I'm not television broadcasting, but I'm broadcasting, so I'm probably okay. So call 1-800-HELLO, answer my question. And it was a very interesting conversation. As the person I was speaking to on the other end of the phone, of course, was trained to answer calls, but they're also not a lawyer.
Right.
And that was also made clear. And when I asked the question, so do I fall in that category? He responded with, well, as you can see, the wording is very vague. At the end of the day, they said, you decide if you think you're an essential service, and then you need to practice accordingly. I said, well, like, I'm typically a one-man show. I don't have employees, occasionally my son, and they were like, okay. And I kind of explained what I was doing, and they were like, we can't tell you. At the end of the day, the officer, whether that's a police officer, bylaw officer, whatever, if they were to get a complaint, they would, of course, have to follow up, and then they would decide. It's up to them. So I made certain calls to people that I know and said, if you were the officer involved or the bylaw, what would you do? And they said, I wouldn't give you a ticket, but I can't tell you that it's okay. So at the end of the day, nobody's really telling anybody. And what I mean by that is, the reason I'm leading into this is on Saturday, they opened up or allowed hardware stores to open. Well, we've already had hardware stores open. The only difference is they were doing curbside pickup. So they weren't closed. You just couldn't go in the store. Jennifer was buying her paint and stuff for all the painting she's been doing from a local hardware store. Wonderful service, by the way. If you're in Sarnia, Russell Street hardware store, it's amazing. And now they got told they can be open if they want to, and people can come in under certain conditions. Okay. So, and then I also asked the questions like, okay, so I can go to the grocery store as long as I social distance.
Yeah.
But I can't have my children over to my house if we were to social distance. Like, to me, social distancing is social distancing. 2 meters is 2 meters. So what's the difference? So at the end of the day, what's been being said by many is, and unfortunately our municipal governments, they get the information from the provincial and federal government. They're told you must close the parks. They're told this, that, and the other thing. The only thing that our city did locally on a local level to make a decision was to put ban fires and close our local boat ramp. That was their decision. It was everything else has been provincial, but the municipalities get yelled at. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And it's like, well, we don't have a choice. And then the municipalities, they're having to define what the Ontario and provincial government, or the provincial and the federal government, means by what they just told them. So it's been, clarification is not a word we've been dealing with much through all of this, I guess. So that's my rant, sort of.
It's a fair rant. We've got the same situation in the UK where basically nobody's saying exactly what you can do.
Right.
They're not even saying what you can't. We're saying it's just so confusing. It's so open to interpretation that if you catch the wrong person on the wrong day, you've got a problem. If you catch somebody on a good day, then you don't have a problem. And that means it's very difficult to actually make decisions based, right, okay, over to Kelly, whilst I'm waffling. If your kids have been at home for over 25 days in isolation, I see no reason why they couldn't see or change homes.
Yeah, except they're telling you not to do that. And I'll kind of answer my situation. So my kids have not been in isolation. They were. My daughter's out working. Jason has gone to the grocery store for his mother from time to time. So, right? Now, if he'd have stayed home, never gone out anywhere for the whole time, and whatever, then probably okay. But even then, they're saying once they've been there, okay, you've isolated there, but there's also other people in the house. So in their home, there's 4 of them, right?
Yep.
And a couple of people in the house, two out of the 4 people in that home are still going out and working and then coming home. So and then even then it's like, okay, well, you went out to work. When you come home, should you even be around anybody in the home, or should you be going to your room? And I said, like, what? I don't know.
Well, our rules change on Wednesday. And on Wednesday, instead of going out just once a day, you can go out as many times as you like.
Yeah.
Truly, you can go out as many times as you like. As long as you observe social distancing, which has now been cut down we know our local fish and chip shop where we go on a Friday night.
Right.
Fish and chip day Friday. They've been closed for the last 6 weeks, but they open up again on Friday, this coming Friday, and they have a notice in the window which says, okay, social distancing, you must be 1.5 meters away from each other.
Oh, 1.5
meters, 1.5 meters. And they're only allowed 2 people in the shop at one time. Now, provided it's not raining, that is not a problem. If it's raining cats and dogs outside and you're in a queue, then how long do you wait for your fish and chips in a queue where you're getting sodden? But it's good news that they're actually on the way back, because Friday nights without fish and chips is definitely not the same. Now, you can actually visit other people, especially family members. Okay, so Angelica's son and his girlfriend could have come over here, but they can't come in the house.
Right.
They've got to stay outside. So again, it's got to be a sunny day, and that will work. So that's obviously helps. If Angelica can see Martin, then that's helpful. And if your daughter came over as well, that would be easy. It's not as easy for my sons to pop over because they're one's in Melbourne in Australia, and the other one is up north.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no way. Right. Okay. Over to Kelly before we get.
And I've done that. I've gone over to their mother's house, and at the end of the driveway, and parked the van there and stood outside, and we were all away from each other, and we didn't hug when we left, which was hard, but that's, I don't know. I guess the way I'm looking at it is until they tell me it's probably okay, but that word probably, that tiny little word can actually make a big mess later. Because boy, if I had corona and didn't know it and hugged my kid and gave it to them, is it worth it? Is it worth the risk? So let's just wait, I guess. Okay.
Let's change the tone of the show slightly as we go over to Dad Jokes, Part 1. Because Terry's got 2 weeks of jokes. So
there's only going to be a Part 1. I'm not going to go through.
Our luck is in. So over to you, Dad.
Oh, well, our luck is in. I love how he threw that in there. Well, it's nice to be back on this show anyway. Of course, I've been busy with my weekly show and some other stuff behind the scenes. The City of Sarnia will be having another Zoom live stream tomorrow where local media, including myself, will be able to ask questions online, and you can watch that tomorrow on the City of Sarnia Facebook page at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. It'll also be live streamed cross-posted onto my page here as well. So looking forward to that. Thanks to the city for that. And actually on this past Friday, our Legion Branch 62 had the 75th anniversary of VE Day, which I was asked to and was happy to live stream that as well. So an important day there. Okay. A man goes to a store and says, 15 liters of wine, please. The man behind the counter asks, did you bring a container for this? The man replies, you're speaking to it.
Anybody who can down 15 liters and not before the premises. Wow.
Sounds like a fun experiment, but you'd want sober friends around when you drive. Why did the Jedi cross the road?
I don't know, David. Why did the Jedi cross the road?
To get to the dark side.
First groan of the week.
Grrr. Oh, you know, there's a huge difference between bad jokes and dad jokes. It's the first letter.
Second groan.
Second groan. Why are pirates so mean?
I don't know, David. Why are pirates so mean?
I don't know. They just are.
Arr! Grr.
There's another groan. Arr. That reminds me. Anyway, I won't. I haven't read these. I've torn them off, so I got to read them to make sure we're. My girlfriend and I often laugh about how competitive we are, but I laugh more.
Of course you do.
Yeah, of course you do. Okay, a statistician. Is that how I say that? A statistician gave birth to twins, but only had one of them baptized. She kept the other as a control.
Sort of.
Wow.
Sort of.
I wonder if these were like compiled and written by one person, or if they just went out and took them. They went on the internet and copied and pasted them into a calendar-like thing, and then wrapped them up and said, "I want to sell this stuff."
Yeah, they just went to a Christmas cracker factory.
Right. Got the things out of them all.
Yeah.
That's an expensive way to do it, but it would work. Time flies like an arrow. Fruit flies like a banana. Okay.
Kelly's saying that the one about the control, it was a bit tangential, wasn't it? Keeping one as
the last one went over my head. Yeah.
Control.
Wrong IQ. I've just written a song about tortillas. Actually, it's more of a rap.
Okay, I can hear everybody in Sarnia going,
yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. And then, where is it? That's the third. I got these mixed up.
Where's it gone? Oh, it's back.
Oh, there we go. And then the one that sits there from today, Monday, May 11th. What do computers snack on?
I don't know, David. What do computers snack on?
I'm disappointed. I thought you would have got this. Microchips. Microchips. That's all for today, folks. Thank you for tolerating me for another week of bad jokes. Where my daughter actually sent me a request to join a bad dad jokes group on Facebook. So I did. Right. And Stephen, you had a bad dad joke too.
I did, but I'm not going to tell it again. I've forgotten it. It's so good, I've forgotten.
Well, it was so bad, I don't remember.
The only one is the no good. Anyway, I've taken all those bricks and I've just built the new house behind me. Okay,
beautiful. Right. Well done.
Quick, I
love how you captured the age.
Indeed. Back up to Lily, who's saying
no hugging is safe. Yeah.
Okay, and Kelly is saying that one went whoosh, and you can understand that. Yeah. Well, in actual fact, we've got a graphic for that. Just a minute.
What, over your head?
There you go.
Oh, look at
Right. The good news is that Formula One. Well, in actual fact, soccer is going to be back soon. Behind closed doors, they're going to play neutral grounds, and they're going to play Premiership football, and they're going to finish the season. So that is good news. I mean, basically, it's entertainment for everybody and keep everybody amused and bemused. And hopefully, Liverpool will go on to win the Premiership for the first time in a long time. So that's on its way back, which is good.
Very good. Yeah, I don't know what's they haven't heard anything around here about sports or anything yet. I think that's still way too early to be discussing. We've got some music festivals like our Blue Water Border Fest that happens every year. Well, happens every year. This is coming into the fourth year. they've already announced, which happens in July. They've already announced the lineup that they've been preparing for. So they've gone ahead and announced it, but they haven't started selling tickets yet or anything. And they do have a bit of a plan B, if you will, to put things on if they're not allowed to. So, I mean, at the end of the day, and everybody keeps saying this, we have no crystal ball.
Nope.
Right. I think the scary part right now is because they are loosening things up. Like last week when we had that beautiful weekend summer here in Sarnia, they had announced that we're going to be loosening things up. And they made it very clear this is not a calendar, this is a roadmap. And they released how they were going to do things. But I think the problem, of course, hindsight being 2020, I think the problem with them doing that was as soon as they said they're going to start doing it, everybody went out. Because it was almost like saying, oh, well, they're going to be doing it, so we must be okay, so let's go out. And I'm not going to lie, I went for a motorcycle ride. I never saw more motorcycles on the road in my travels in one day.
Yeah.
And boats lined up because the boat ramp was still closed here, but down Corunna and Moortown, Sombre Way, there's all kinds of boat ramps, and they were lined up down the road. Like, it was crazy. I'd never seen anything like it. So I don't know. I think their caution is that we're going to do this, but we've got to do it slowly, and everybody's got to be on board with it, or we're going to screw things up and be right back where we started.
Well, I'm going with Angelica's approach insofar as we don't need to change anything. If we keep the rules that have been there in the last 6 weeks, and we're not alone in this, that if you go out perhaps 2 times a day rather than the one, but you don't actually go and meet people, so go shopping once a week.
Yeah.
But I mean, we had the weekend was glorious. I mean, it was 23 degrees yesterday.
Nice.
And more people are about, but more people on bikes. Everybody's getting on the bike, not motorbike, cycles, and people are walking as well. Now, on that, because more people are walking and cycling, in fact, Halfords had a 30% increase in bike sales last month. So more and more people are buying bikes, but we've now got a situation where from Wednesday, everybody can go back to work. Well, not everybody, but most people. If you're in construction, if you're in several different industries, then you can go back to work on Wednesday. But the transport side of it is going to have social distancing. So if you get on a bus, then there will be nobody sat next to you. The next person sat on the bus will be 2 meters away. So what that does is it lowers the capacity of public transport by 90%. So in other words, 90% of the people who use public transport back at the beginning of March can't use it anymore to get to work, but they can go to work. Now, there's a sort of mismatch there. Yeah. If your factory is on a greenfield site and the only way to get to it is public transport or drive, and you've got no car, what happens?
Yeah.
Crazy world. We're in a crazy world, and it's a crazy world.
Well, I think there's I talked to the director of parks for Sarnia, like, I don't know, probably almost a month ago now.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to him, and one of the things he said was, we have been preparing for a pandemic. They do training on emergency response and everything like that. However, they're also, while they've been prepared based on what they think they know, right? Yeah. Something like this, things were in place to be prepared, but they're still kind of writing the book a bit along the way, I think, as to, we didn't think about that. And, even, again, going back to our mayor, Mike Bradley, he said from the start, I think that Prime Minister should have shut down the country right away. Should have just been done. Yeah. People wouldn't have liked it. I get it. We're not here to make friends. But he says, I think we would have been a little bit closer to a resolution had we done that. Okay. Is that hindsight? I don't know.
But some countries did. They shut down airports and said nobody's coming in. And we've just said that if anybody comes in this week, then then they've got to go into quarantine for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, we did the same here.
If you're coming over for a 3-day visit and you've got to go into quarantine for 2 weeks, you ain't going to come.
Yeah, that's right.
So no brainer.
Well, we had our snowbirds come back, right?
Yeah.
And they come back from the Florida and Texas, and we had some and they were told, go straight home in quarantine. Don't stop anywhere and get groceries along the way. But some did, and then some got caught. There was I think it was a hardware store in Corunna. Yeah. A snowbird came home, parked their RV out there, went in, did their thing, and then they were like, what are you doing? And then that store just said, we got to close because that person came in, right? So we've got to lose the selfishness too, right? Well, yeah, but it's probably not me, so I can go to the grocery store, it'll be fine. Well, that's not the way to think about it, unfortunately.
Kelly's observing that our Prime Minister went on television last night and told us that things were going to happen today. And then they woke up this morning and decided things were going to happen on Wednesday. So I put a poster on my wall. I don't often curse and say the F word, but the poster on my wall included the F word yesterday, and it read, we haven't got an effing clue what to do. And that sums it up at the moment. But for a moment, if I can just share something for a moment, I'll take you through what's actually happening in the UK. So I'm going to share The Guardian, which is one of the better newspapers in the UK, which I subscribe to, and I can bring that up on screen. I'm going to switch David's camera off for a moment and go picture in picture. That way, I got it right first time. And I'm also going to change the layout so that I can go, is that the right one? A little bit smaller. Okay, so this is a 60-page document. It was actually published in the UK this afternoon, so this is bang up to date. And I just said, work-wise, anyone who cannot work from home can go to work from Wednesday, but they've got to find their own way there. If you've got to walk. If you've got to cycle, you cycle. What employers are going to do, and when somebody says, I can't get there, they're not going to say, I'm going to come and pick you up, are they? As far as schools are concerned, it's too early to open schools now, but they will open next month. And it's only certain years which will be open. Travel, we've all got to avoid public transport wherever possible. The government says it will increase funding. Exercise, as I said earlier, we can go out as many times as we want. We cannot go to playgrounds, they're still closed. We can't use outdoor gyms, they're closed. Because touching the surfaces will be a problem. Social contact, as long as you adhere to the 2-meter physical distancing rules, you can meet up with one person from outside your household, like a friend or relative in a public place. This is brilliant. So you're going for a walk in the park and you meet somebody you know, and you stand your social distance and you chat to them, okay? Then somebody else you both know comes walking through the park. What do? Do you say, come and join us, nobody will notice, as we were talking about earlier, will he ignore it or not? Or do you say, oh, I can only talk to one friend at once, go away? Madness.
Well, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'll come back to that.
No, you can.
No, I mean, like if we're standing in a, that's the other thing I don't like. That's the other thing I don't understand. 2 meters is 2 meters.
Yeah.
And if 2 meters is the rule, 2 meters is 2 meters, whether there's 5 people or 20 people. Indeed. 2 meters apart is 2 meters apart. So why is it that, and again, that's what, they were saying over here, like any more than 5 people is a no-no. Why? Is for 2 meters apart, we're 2 meters apart. I don't understand. Yeah. And I'm not trying to argue with the powers that be. I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be. I'm trying to understand. And to me, in my brain, I go, 2 meters is 2 meters. I'm standing there and I'm in the park. I'm talking to Kelly, blah, 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 blah. We're 2 meters apart. Steven comes along and we go, hey, good to see you. Just let's all keep our 2 meters. And maybe we got to go stand in the middle of the field now because we need more room. But as long as we're 2 meters apart, I'm okay talking to you. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, in Germany, it's 10 people that can get
right.
Together. In the UK, it's 2. Right. Now, we've spoken about masks before. They're not mandatory, but we're being told we should wear one now when we're on public transport and in some shops. Now, Angelica and I ordered 6 masks last week. So hopefully they'll arrive next Monday. Shielding, we've got the biggest problem at the moment is in care homes.
Yes.
And not just for the residents of care homes, but for staff as well. And the biggest percentage of people who actually died from the virus is actually in care homes. So they've got a difficult job twice over. All right, now next month, schools will start to open. Non-essential shops can open, but pubs, cafe and restaurants and beauty services such as hairdressers will not be allowed to open. And next month, intimated sport and culture, soccer is back on. And we could actually get together. 2 households can get together, but not now, next month. And then the final step, because we're given a timetable for this, July 4th, rings a bell for some reason. If we're still okay, then pubs, restaurants, hairdressers, beauty salons, churches and cinemas can reopen. And that is basically, we've still got social distancing.
Yeah. Well, again, I try to, I kind of said that earlier with the grocery store thing. If I'm 2 meters apart from you here, that's okay. And how many people do they let into a grocery store at one time? I don't know. Kelly might know, and my wife might know, but I don't. Like, if you're 2 meters apart, you're 2 meters apart. If you're at a concert and there's 5,000 people, you're 2 meters apart, you're 2 meters apart. Why is that a problem? Well, then there's more things being touched. I don't know. It's just, and why is it 5? Why not 6? I mean, I guess the whole thing is they got to draw the line somewhere. Well, 6 might be okay, but we're going to say 5. Yes.
Do you know where the 2 meters rule came from?
No.
It's not a trick question. I was curious because Angelica mentioned it. So
is that like an arm's length or?
Nope.
2 arms length? I don't know.
Amazingly, it comes from the 1930s.
Oh.
Yep. That's how far it dates back. And it was taken as being, if somebody has a cold or flu, and flu in this case, and they sneeze, then the particles will go for 1 meter. Yeah.
Oh.
And to be on the safe side, you need to be 2 meters away, or between 1.5 and 2 meters away. So rather than being based on current scientific knowledge, it's actually based on something that that might be fake news, David. If it is fake news, I do apologize.
It makes total sense, right?
Yeah. Kelly's saying, by watching Ontario Premier Doug Ford and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, I really think they do care, not like 45 in the USA. We managed to keep 45 out of this show most of the time.
I don't know what he means by 45.
President 45. Chap called, sorry.
Oh.
He's called 45.
Come on.
44 was Obama. Okay?
Right.
And even numbers are good.
I'll stay President Trump.
Odd numbers are crazy. No, I didn't say that. Yeah, I mean, basically, he's, from what I can gather, the death toll in the States is currently 77,000, which is 77,000 too many. And the president has said this is going to burn itself out, and 95,000 people in total may well die. So it's now time for us to open up. And every other country in the world saying, what?
Yeah.
Apart from half the United States. Yeah. I mean, I got to say that I've been watching what's been happening around the world, and the one person who does stand out is Mayor Cuomo of New York. He's told people the truth every single day, and he said what we're doing. He said why are they doing it. and he's kept everybody on side. And they're now in a situation in New York. I mean, they had a horrendous situation there. They're now on the downward slope. And it's because of the actions the mayor took. Nothing to do with national government. So 45, yes. I'm not going to crack any jokes or say anything derogatory about it because it's just a sad situation. And Kelly says, he's happy to live in Canada. I'm happy to live in the UK as well. So we're happy with the countries we're actually in, which is perhaps good news. 50 people in a grocery store. Right. So, yeah, I mean, basically, we've got a one in, one out basis in the UK. And we've just been told we've just been told that 2 people can't go into the store at the same time. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, good point. Like my daughter works security at for a company that does security at the liquor and beer stores. And her job when she's outside is she's to make sure everybody's 2 meters apart, standing in line, and 2 people from the same household cannot go into the liquor store.
Yeah.
And she's had trouble over this. She told me, she's like, oh yeah, people have defiantly argued with her. She's younger, she's 22, so she's younger, and telling somebody older what to do, that probably doesn't always go over well. Right. And I guess one time she was telling me she had this issue, and somebody was very defiant, and then the other people in the line were actually kind of defending her, saying, hey, leave her alone, she's doing her job, kind of thing, right? And but then that starts another problem. It's like, she's like, thank you, but please just let me handle it, because then you start saying something, and then he gets saying something, and the next thing there's a brawl in the liquor store parking lot, and nobody got a drink yet. Right. So yeah, I
mean, they explained it to us when we went shopping and said, right, okay, you can both go in today, but next week you can't. And he was apologizing. He was most, I mean, it doesn't make sense from the supermarket's point of view, because I'm known for impulse buys. You're going around the store and you go and that looks good, we'll have that. Now, if I'm not there, if Angelica's shopping on her own, turnover is going to be down. Simple as.
I'm not allowed to go grocery shopping with Jennifer.
Right. What we've decided, we've got 2 supermarkets in town. Angelica's going to go to one. I'm going to go to the other.
There you go.
And if we double up, it's not a problem. Right. Okay. Back to Kelly. And Kelly is saying, I think about 50 people in grocery stores, which is what we've got to. And we've got lineups in Canada as well. Similar thing. They're actually copying each other. Now, one of the amazing things that happened last week on Be Live is that we got the ability now just to type in a YouTube URL and to play the video on Be Live. And
nice.
Last week, I was able to play 8 videos telling the story of devisers, and everything went flawlessly. But I just had to, because now I can do this. Just excuse me for a moment. If I can find the one I'm looking for. Which one's?
Well, while you're doing that, I'll just reiterate and back to Kelly. Okay. And I've been doing the. You don't have to put me in full screen. I don't need the spotlight, but I've been doing the Premier of Ontario broadcasts. I've been very fortunate to get that direct feed from them, and I do have to do again today at 1:00. But it's nice to be able to, that the government has been allowing, people like myself to do that without any, copyright infringement issues or whatever, and sharing that. I was actually given permission to do the Prime Minister's feed as well, but it doesn't fit into my schedule, unfortunately. Now, somebody said to me, well, why are you sharing that? I mean, I can go on YouTube and watch the Premier. Yep, you can. Absolutely, you can. It's the exact same feed. So why do I do that? There's a couple reasons why. Not everybody understands how to find things on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And when they see it coming from somebody local like myself, what I'm really trying to do is give the Premier of Ontario a further reach to get it out to more people. And when they see it coming from me, the local guy, they tend to go, oh, okay, it's coming from there, I tend to believe it. So that's one of the reasons why I take the time. And there's been sometimes I've had to miss. Usually I have to miss Thursdays because I do teach my class, but then I take it and then I reschedule it and put it out again later as a premiere. I premiere the premiere. And I've had people say, well, that already happened. Why do you put that out again? I don't know. Why does YouTube keep all the videos on there after they're live? For the same reason, right? And then I put it out again. The great thing about it is I've been allowed to, we have what's called age-friendly Sarnia here. And that's a committee here in Sarnia that I belong to. And we have a Facebook page, and it's regarding that. So I'm allowed to share it there. There's been a lot of really great collaboration, at least between myself and other groups like the city of Sarnia. They give me access to their page to allow to cross-post certain things. Like the VE Day was an important one, and absolutely we can do that. So there's this whole thing that we're dealing with, and this is probably the entrepreneurial business mindset of me, but I'm always looking for opportunity. And even outside of business, on a personal relationship, I'm always looking for opportunity. And I've been able to establish a lot of relationships over my time doing this, but even more right now with people I never even thought of that. Or I never even thought to do that. I'm doing a weekly bingo. Never thought to, I shouldn't say I thought about it a couple of years, but didn't do it, but now we're just being forced into these times. Relationships, if anything, is a huge importance right now, and relationships and collaboration with each other. I think it's making people realize, boy, we really do kind of need each other. Anyway, another rant.
Right, you have a choice, and the choice is, because you've done the dad jokes. This is not retaliation in any way, shape, or form. I'm actually at the moment creating countdown screens, as you possibly know. And you've got a choice. You can either have the fish or the flowers. Which would you like? I'm only going to do one. This is a countdown screen. Right. I'm going to go with the flowers. So I'm going to bring it up on screen, and we can take a break for 60 seconds as I put it full screen. And this is flowers. And the idea is we're going to be going, not necessarily today, but we're actually going to be going to several different networks, and the connection time for Facebook is different for connection time from YouTube, from Periscope, from Twitch. So how do you know when you've gone live? So my answer is this. It's a countdown clock that goes at the beginning of the show. It doesn't mean you can't talk, but the countdown clock says we're actually going to start talking seriously in 60 seconds. And Gertrude said, can you do one for flowers? So I said, yeah, of course I can. And then I just found, this is on in video, found the flowers music, well, found a picture, and then the music just fits. Just one of those incredible coincidences where everything just goes together. Now, of course, we don't have to do the full 60 seconds looking at now. Right, okay. But that's the idea. We don't know what the connection times are going to be when we simulcasting or multicasting. So those are going to be very useful, and people are actually downloading them.
Yeah, I think you give it 60 seconds and then go live. You're pretty good on all platforms.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's true.
I find they're all pretty close. YouTube can be a big, actually, I find Facebook to be the one with the longest latency, about 30 seconds from the time I say it here, and if I were to watch it. Pardon me. That was the thing that I had to be careful about doing the bingo that I do every week is it needed to be pretty close to real time. Because people watch it, and then the next thing you know, we're going, oh, bingo, and they're like, oh, I showed it that 30 seconds ago. Anyway, so I was able to work through that. These are the kind of things, though, that people who haven't normally live streamed who are going live now, which is great, whether you're just doing it right live from your phone or whatever, or be live or whatever platform you want to use. these are the little things you don't think about. Oh, I didn't think about, oh, there's a delay. You know, I've had people say, why don't you do a karaoke thing, David? There's a delay in there, and it's not an easy fix. It's just not an easy fix.
No.
So I've just chosen to not go that direction right now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, live music solo, you can do, but once you've got more than one musician or chanteurs involved, then it becomes complex. Yeah.
Well, my Friday night music show that I do, one night we had a band on, and they were in social distancing in the room, and they had a direct audio feed. It didn't quite work, and I'd forgotten what I needed to do with that, but there's some audio processing that happens when you go live, and you need to be able to alter that in order to get a good sound quality. That's why we went with acoustic performers on Friday night. And then even on their side, I have to get them to do a couple little things so that it comes out sounding nice and clean. And then they were like, well, why don't you play that and I play the drums and do that? I'm like, it won't work. I'm telling you right now. Well, yeah, I'll just anyway.
Technology.
So that's why we've gone the way we have. Yeah.
Technology is not there yet. Anyway, speaking of technology, Restream.io have been around, got 2 million users, and they, up until now, have been actually relaying broadcasts around the internet. So they will send your broadcasts from where you're broadcasting from around the world. And I've been using it in recent weeks to actually teach people all about BeLive. So I take the studio, I share it into Restream, and then I can go out from Restream and people can actually sit in the live studio, which makes teaching a lot easier. Yeah, because now, up until last week, Restream had a single seat. So that single seat, I can either appear on camera and go around the globe, or I can share my screen. Now, I was actually sharing my studio, and that worked well. But they're now taking the game seriously, and you can have 3 people on screen. Which is a game changer given the user base they've got, which is far in advance of anybody that we know and have used so far. So I'm keeping tabs on it. Went live with Marco last Friday for our first session, and that was good. So watch out for Restream.io, because they could be a major player in live video. Because everything. We've got the user base.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've looked at that. Well, I've been a Restream user for quite some time. And then it was funny. I used Restream for a couple of years, and then I switched over to Caster, and then I was like, I don't need both. And then I Restream, because they were heading that direction. I thought, well, I might as well go there with her. So, and I don't use it a lot, but it's still worth it to me to have for certain things. So, yeah, the live streaming thing. What a great idea. So many people trying to figure it out right now. I actually posted something on my Facebook page about the things that I can do to help people and as a service. And I kind of said, stop trying to figure it out. Like,
oh yeah,
I get that. It's good that you recognize that you need to do this Zoom thing or live thing or whatever you want to do, but like, run your business, your organization, reach out to people like myself and Steven and go, how much does this cost me to have you help me do this? Right. So
that's right. Turnkey system. All you have to do is actually turn up as a talent and go on video, and everything else is taken care of for you.
I have two appointments tomorrow about what I can do, and it's nice to be recognized a little more as the expert in that the expert in that category, And I've always found, like, I don't know. I've been out when I've done live streaming events or whatever, and people will come up to me. Oh, can I take a picture of that? Take a picture of what? They want to take a picture of my screen. I'm like, no, because they want to know the name of the app, and then they can go home and start playing around, and then they can do it themselves. Yeah. You know what? Like, really? Or I've had people hanging over my shoulder trying to look and see what that is, right? Yeah. So, and you kind of go, like, come on, this is my business here. Like, you're trying to save yourself a few bucks, and you maybe could, but I don't know. I get a little annoyed at that kind of thing. Or what's that app? Or what microphone do you use? Or what? I don't mind sharing some, but if it's, yeah, then there's a point where I go, hey, wait a minute. I'm valuable here and you need to pay me for my knowledge.
Totally. I mean, we give free advice in the Believers group and in the SY group, but there is a limit. And the question was asked today, how can I have a perfect picture when I'm broadcasting live? Well, I did a broadcast with Marco, and the picture quality was darn good. So the question was, how can I have a perfect picture? And you're quite right to smile there, because you can't guarantee it.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I look perfect on screen now, but that's because, well, no, don't look perfect. But you know what I mean. I'm seeing the picture before it goes out, before it goes to Be Live and goes to Facebook.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's right. I've got to look good in my own studio. But there's so many different moving parts in actually having a system which looks good. But even then, varying signal, glitch somewhere. This is live video. As we've said many times before, David, this is not TV yet.
That's right. I've done things where 1 year I did a broadcast and everything worked out great. And then the next year I went back to do that broadcast event again and didn't work out. I set it up the same way. And then, I was asked, well, how come it worked last year, not this year? And it's like, well, I didn't know this was going to happen, but you had 200 people in the room compared to last year. You had 50 people in the room. And, I used your internet and all this instead of my, there was all these different things that happened. Right. And people don't always understand. They're like, but so-and-so sitting over there and his phone had no problem. I'm like, well, he's sitting over there. Like there's all these different things. Right. It's kind of like when cellular phones first came out. I sold cellular phones. And I remember I sold them to the local hospital here, and they're like, well, we got to have a phone that guarantees we're not going to have any dead spots wherever our person goes. I'm like,
competent.
Call any phone company and ask them that question. If they tell you they can guarantee it, they're lying to you. So, it's just,
we can strive for perfection, but there's so much outside our own control.
That's right.
That's right. You've got to live with that for the moment. Okay. So
I've got to head out early actually again today because of the premiere at 1:00, and I've got to get a few minutes to prepare for that. So I'm going to jump out. I don't know if you're going to keep going.
I'm going to keep going. Take care.
Why not? Might as well. Thanks everybody. Don't forget the 10 in the comments. Thanks to my which way? There. I'm going to go right through. Wouldn't that be weird if my hand came up there? Anyway.
It would.
Good to see you.
The technology over there to do it. We can actually sort of fool people and have something to pass to each other.
That's right. Yeah. We'll work on that. Okay. Thanks. It's good to see you, Stephen. Glad to be back here. And thanks for hosting and producing everything again. We'll see you next week.
Good to have you back, David. See you soon. Right. So David's going to go, and that means I'm going to go. Wait a minute. Can I go full screen? Yes, I can. Right. I've gone full screen. The scene behind me is a town in Germany. Angelica and I do every fortnight do Ask Angelica, which is the German language learning program, and each week we actually visit each 2 weeks we visit a different place in Germany. And I think this is Freiburg, though don't hold me to that. We've got to I think we've got as far as H now, but I think I like this photograph because this is Freiburg. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. in the UK is I Live Here. Anything Goes is taking a rest. It's I Live Here with Fonz and Stephen. And we can do I Live Here because now that we can actually share YouTube videos, we can take you anywhere. So tomorrow is A, because we're going to do an A to Z or an A to Z, whichever way you look at it. And there's the A is two places. Fonz is going to do Aberdeen, which is where Peter Stewart lives, as we know. And I'm going to do Ashby de la Zouch for no other reason than I actually like the name and I've been there. So you're going to visit two places in the UK tomorrow. Pop quiz will still be there, but Fons will take you to Aberdeen. I don't think he's going to have a Scots accent, but you never know. And I will take you to Ashby-de-la-Zouch in Leicestershire, which is sort of close to Birmingham, really. Close to John. It's nearer to John than it is to me. So in the morning, I will be looking for videos. I mean, Ashby-de-la-Zouch has got a castle. Like Devizes has got a castle. And it's got history going back a few thousand years. So you should be able to find up some interesting information about Ashby-de-la-Zouch and show you the video of parts of the UK that most people never get to see. So that's tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. in the UK, and myself and Fons. And also tomorrow in the Belivers group, I will be live at 12 p.m. Eastern, just me talking about live video and helping people go live. So that's tomorrow. I'm going to play you out, or play me out, if I can find it. I'm looking for a video. You know what it is when you're looking for something you can't find it? That's the one. I'm going to bring it up on screen. I'm going to switch, if I can get this right, solo off. I'm going to go picture in picture that way around, and I'm going to change the video size to that. So that covers up the countdown clock. I'm going to play you out with an aquarium, and thanks for watching today. We'll see you all again next week, same time, 12 p.m. Eastern on Mondays. David and I have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Just gently. This is one better than having to keep a fish tank. I don't know if any of you do keep fish, but there's something about actually being able to watch fish. So this has been broadcast into your community with David Burrows and Stephen Healey joining Sarnia, Ontario, with the Wiltshire in England. And you enjoyed your company. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for joining us. And we shall see you at the same time next week. And you don't need to watch that one because you've already seen that one. So I'm going to stop that now and see you next week. Goodbye for now.